I just
Okay. Okay. So today I want to discuss if there's any doubts in calculus, if there is some problems there,
yes, there's derivative and integration and all. I have some doubts in that.
and then if you have time left, then we'll finish the triangle stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so yesterday we were seeing, we saw what is a
The meaning.
function, meaning, right? Then we
Yes.
saw meaning of derivative, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Meaning of a derivative is simply the slope of the
About
tangent
tangent.
of a graph.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we understood what is the meaning of an increasing or a decreasing function. Increasing, decreasing functions are basically when slope is greater than 0, it is increasing. When slope is less than
Yes.
0, it is decreasing.
Yeah.
So what slope? Slope of the tangent. Okay. So if you have a graph like this, in this section, slope of the tangents are pointing upwards.
Yeah.
Here it is falling. So basically, as you go ahead in x, delta x, then here the delta y here, the delta y here is negative, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, on the other hand, delta y by delta x is positive. dy by
Positive.
dx is positive. So in this portion, the graph is increasing, and here there is no change. So dy by dx is 0 here. So this is a horizontal tangent, right?
Yeah.
Horizontal tangent. And here the function is decreasing
Crazy.
because clearly slope is negative, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, connected to that is the idea of maxima and minima. Maxima and minima is exactly connected to this idea of increasing, decreasing. So if a function was increasing and then decreasing, then you have a maxima logically. And if the function was decreasing first and then increasing, then it is a minima, this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maxima and minima can only happen at these points where the slope was first, say, positive and then became negative. So here slope is 0.
Yes.
So only at the points where dy by dx is 0 can you have maxima or minima of function. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
When we do calculus properly, like in more detail, we'll come to understanding that there are several other points also where maximum and minima can happen. But right now, what we are doing is calculus for the purpose of being able to do physics,
Physics.
right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
maths, we'll separately do it in much more detail. So right now, that is why I'm not going into too much depth. Okay. So later we'll do all of this properly again. So there's no worry. As long as you understand this much, it's fine for physics. Okay.
Yes. Thanks.
Because mostly you will encounter functions which are simple, differentiable, and continuous functions. So basically, you will encounter functions which satisfy two properties, continuous and differentiable. So for those functions, this is true. Maxima, minima can happen only at points where dy by dx is 0. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So whether it is a maxima or a minima that happens at a particular point can be decided by just thinking about the slope. If the slope was positive before, that means function was increasing before
Yeah.
that point. So
Yes.
suppose somebody asked you y is equal to x square, right? The graph is
The
like
fact.
this.
Yeah.
This is y is equal to x square. So uh, our idea is that okay, dy by dx should be 0 for maxima or minima to happen. What is dy by dx for this? It is equal to 2x.
Yeah.
So 2x is equal to 0 should happen for maxima minima. So x is equal to 0 is a
0.
candidate point at which maxima or minima could happen, right?
That's 0.
Now, how do we decide whether it is a point of maxima or a point of minima, right? So our slope function had come as 2x, right?
Yeah.
dy by dx was 2x, right? So now
Yes.
we check just below 0, just before 0, this point, this side, right? And just
Yeah.
after 0, we check these values and these values, okay? Just before 0, slope is what? Negative.
Slope is negative, yeah.
So it will be negative, no, just before 0. So that means function must have been decreasing.
Yes.
And just after 0, it was increasing. So that means it was decreasing, and then it started increasing. So this must be minima, right?
Okay.
So this fits our understanding. This, it's obvious from the graph, but you could have found that y is equal to x square has a minima at x is equal to 0, even if you did not have the graph for it, right?
Yes.
So for example, you can have a function like this: y is equal to x cube plus x square minus x. Okay. This is the function. Okay. So now the graph of this is not obvious, right?
Yeah.
So how will we decide where the maxima and minima will be? I want to find maximum and minimum value of this function. Okay.
Okay.
So first thing that I will do is find dy by dx.
Yeah.
So that will be equal to 3x square plus 2x
plus
minus 1, right?
Yeah.
So when is dy by dx 0? These are going to be our candidate points for maxima or minima, right? When dy by dx is 0. So let's
Yeah.
try to find the solution of this equation. This is equal to 0, right?
So 3 and 1.
So we'll immediately factorize it like this: plus 3x minus x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we get 3x, x plus 1 minus 1, x plus 1.
Yeah.
So you get 3x minus 1 and x plus 1 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So therefore the candidate points that are coming for us are minus 1 and 1 by 3, right? Correct. So now our job is to decide whether maxima minima can happen. Which one at minus 1, what happens, for example? Is it a point of maxima or is it a point of minima, right? Okay. So how will we decide that? We will look at the slope. The slope function was what for us? 3x square plus 2x minus 1, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So
yes.
just before minus 1. So minus 1, let's say we have plotted here, right? Just this side of minus 1, right? So let's say minus 1.1, right?
Okay.
What is the value of the slope? Let's approximately see whether it is positive or negative, right?
It's
so let's do it. 3 into 1.1 square is 1.21 and minus 2.2 minus 1, right? So this is 3.63 and minus 3.2. So it is coming as positive, no? Just, right? This time is coming positive. Let's say this side what happens? So minus 0.9, let's say, right? So 3 into 0.81 plus 2 into minus 0.9 minus 1, right? So it becomes 3 into 0.8 is 2.43 and minus 2.8.
Yeah.
So negative. Minus 1 also, no? Minus 1.8.
Okay, together. Okay, together.
It is coming negative.
Yeah.
So it was increasing like this just before and then decreasing, no?
Yeah, yeah.
So minus 1 is a point of maxima, right? Minus 1 is a point of maxima. Similarly, for 1 by 3 also we can find similarly, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is one way to do it. This is like a method to do it which uses just the first derivatives to find maxima and minima, right?
Yeah.
Just the first derivative or just the slope that we found, that is sufficient for us to figure out whether it is maxima or minima. Now, but you realize that there is a slight problem here, that it could be annoying to check, right? Like
yes.
right now it was slightly annoying to check one. Now to check near 1 by 3, it will be even more annoying, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Actually, we should not have done it like that. Actually, we should not have done the checking like that, by the way. You should have checked using the wavy curve method. No?
Oh, that is.
You understand? You should have
Uh,
checked like this. So,
the
let's see.
one minus
X minus 1 by 3, x plus 1, right, is equal to 0. This is the derivative, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, wavy curve would
Yes.
have given us minus 1 and 1 by 3. So, ahead of this, both are positive, right?
Yeah.
So, the whole thing is positive. In between, minus 1 to 1 by 3, this one will become negative and this one will remain positive. So, it becomes negative. And in this side, it is positive, right? So, this is much more easy, right?
Yes.
Correct. So now we know that slope is positive in this side, then it is decreasing, and then it is increasing, right?
Yeah.
So this point becomes maxima, and this point
Maximum.
becomes minima,
Yeah.
right? See, our function was function fx was x cube. What was it? Minus x square, no? Minus x square plus x square minus x.
Plus x squared.
This was our function, right?
Yeah.
Now, it is not obvious by looking at the function how the graph will look, right? Like, I don't know how to plot the graph immediately, right? You also don't know, right?
Yeah.
So, but what is easily possible using calculus is, now I know maximum is at x is equal to minus 1, minima is at
X
is equal to
1
1 by 3, right? Now, all the time here, these maxima minima are called local maxima and local minima, okay?
Okay.
What is the meaning of that? Local maxima, local minima? That means the maxima and minima is in a particular neighborhood, okay? You understand? So here, this is a maxima in this neighborhood. It is a local maxima, okay? This is a minima in this neighborhood. This is a maxima in this neighborhood. This is a minima in this neighborhood. This is a maxima in this neighborhood, right?
Yes.
It doesn't mean that the whole function's maximum value throughout its domain is at minus 1. Obviously, right?
Yes.
Like, because the function will become very large when x tends to infinity, no? It becomes, when you put large values, it becomes very positive, no?
Yes.
So clearly maxima is not some absolute maxima, okay? So a function can have many peaks and troughs, right? It can have many of these.
Yeah.
Right? So what the maxima minima that we are getting are these points. It doesn't have to be overall maxima or minima. You understand? So whatever we are getting by the calculus method is a local maxima and local minima. Like, suppose if you found all the possible local maxima. So here, how many maxima? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 local maxima are coming. Out of all the 5 local maxima, if I checked which one is highest, then 5 is highest. This will be my absolute maxima or global maximum.
Okay.
Right? So I will check the actual values at these points and find out which one is highest, right?
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah, understood.
So these are all local minima. So the lowest one will be the overall lowest, right? So basically, don't think that this is like the maximum value of this forever is going to be at minus 1, right? That is not sensible, because at 10, what happens? 1000 plus something. No?
Yeah.
So the function will rise up beyond, but whatever maximum minima we are getting is in a particular neighborhood. Near those points, near minus 1, this is definitely maximum.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the maximum minima method. Now, by wavy curve, we have figured out the increasing, decreasing and all, and we have been able to find out the maximum minima points for it, right? Now, there is another method also, like suppose the function was x cube plus x square minus x, fx. F dash x was coming as 3x square plus 2x minus 1. So we put f dash x is equal to 0 and we got 2 points, 1 by 3 and minus 1, right?
Yeah.
Now, there is another method to quickly check whether it is maxima or minima. Check whether it is a maxima or a minima. It doesn't even need the wavy curve or anything. Okay, it is faster than that. The
Okay.
fastest method to check whether this is a maxima or a minima, right? The
Mm.
method is take the second derivative. What is the second derivative? One more derivative.
Derivative. Derivative.
So this
Yeah.
is 6x plus 2, right?
Yes.
Right. So the
Yeah.
second derivative of a function, double derivative of a function, will tell you things like the shape of the curve, shape of the curve. So shape of the curve in what sense? It will tell you whether the curve is like this or like this. This is called concave up, and this is called concave down.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
whether the curve is concave up or concave down. Concave up means, see, the cave is upward, right? This is a cave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cave is up, concave up, right?
Yes.
Concave down means this cave-like place is down, pointing down, right?
Yeah. Yes. Got
So
it.
double derivative tells us the shape of the curve, and shape of the curve in what sense? Concave up or concave down. It can be two options for it, right? So
Okay. Fine.
if double derivative is greater than 0 at some point, right,
Mm-hmm.
then it is concave up.
Some point that is okay. Okay.
And if double derivative is less than 0 at some point, then it is concave down.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is the meaning of concave up and concave down. So now what we will do is we'll understand and we'll use it. Okay, so let's find out whether at 1 by 3 it is concave up or concave down. At 1 by 3 we have to check, no? So let's check at
Yeah.
1 by 3. Double derivative
So
is coming as 4, right?
before.
So greater
So
than
it's
0, so it is concave up. So
on.
shape of the curve should be like this.
Yeah.
And
Then will
whenever,
be minimum.
so obvious, because if the shape of the curve is like this point is a minimum.
Yeah.
So check the double derivative. So check at -1. See, double derivative is coming as -4.
Minus.
So
Yeah.
concave down,
Yeah. So
so
will be
it is
max.
maximum, right? So this is called the double derivative test to check maxima minima. Double derivative test. So far we had just done single derivatives, right?
Yes.
Just with a
Fine.
single derivative, you are also able to figure out, but sometimes it can be a little long and annoying, right?
Yeah.
You can find whether it is maxima or minima, but to decide what it is exactly, you will probably need to think a little more. So it is better to sometimes use the double derivative test. Okay.
Okay. Fine.
Double derivative will tell you the shape of the graph. The shape of the graph, whether it is concave up or concave down, if you know at a particular point, then you know whether it is maxima or minima because it's obvious, right?
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
You understood? Okay.
Yes.
So this is mostly what you need to know in differential calculus, other than differentiation rules. So you need to know how to get differentiation of some function.
Yeah.
So suppose x bar n, then you need to know that dy by dx is equal to.
And x to the power n minus.
Okay. Now, why this is so? Why this is so is because you need to understand limits. So did they teach limits in class for you guys? No, no,
No.
nothing. Okay. So when you do properly calculus, what you will understand is dy by dx actually is this thing, limit of h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h. So basically, if y is equal to fx is my function, okay, it is limit of h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h. So I will quickly explain why that is so. So
Yes.
uh, suppose there is a curve like this, okay.
Okay.
This is my y is equal to fx curve, okay, and this point is x, this point is x plus h, okay.
Yes.
So this height is called what? F of x,
Yeah.
and this height is called f of x plus h, right? Correct. So
Yes.
so what is the slope of the chord here? this chord, slope of this line, right? So slope of the chord M will be y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1.
Yeah.
It will be f
Yes.
of x plus h minus f of x by x plus h minus x.
6. Yes.
That becomes f of x plus h minus f of x by h, right?
H. Yes.
Correct. So this is
Yeah.
the slope of the chord, no? So
Yes.
derivative at this point actually means slope of the tangent, right?
Yeah. The slope of the
At
tangent.
this point, derivative's meaning is slope of the tangent at a particular point, right?
Yes.
So what people figured out ki what happens if P, this point is called P, this point is called Q, okay? So what happens if I bring my point Q closer and closer to P, okay? So right now PQ was a chord, no?
Yeah.
And slope of the chord was this thing. Now
Yes.
think about if Q came here, right? Now the slope of the chord will be something else, right?
Yes.
Q
Yes.
came here, then Q came here, then Q came here,
Yeah.
right? So what does it mean to bring Q closer to P? It means make H tends to 0, no? Bring it closer and closer here, right? You understand?
Yes. Yes. Understood.
So bringing Q closer to P means make the H gap between them smaller and smaller, right?
Yeah.
As long as they are two different points, you can always find the slope of the chord between them, right? As long as they are two
Yes.
different points, always I'll be able to find slope of the chord, right? This is slope of chord.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though they are very close, it will still be, there will be some line between them still, right? Some segment you can draw, right?
Yes. Yes.
But you can easily notice that as you come closer and closer, this chord becomes more and more like a tangent, no?
Yes.
Like if you come really next to that point only, it looks like almost exactly like the tangent, no?
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
understand.
in the limiting condition, when limit of h tends to 0, if you take this ratio, right? If you take this ratio, this is actually slope of chord, but when the limit h tends to 0 happens, this becomes slope of tangent, no?
Yeah. 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 Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So this thing
Yes.
becomes, this is what is defined as dy by dx, slope of tangent, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Oh,
this is what I had written earlier. See,
yes.
it is
Understood.
actually coming in from here. It is just slope of chord, but when you have brought your point so close that it is almost like a tangent, right?
Okay. Understood.
Right. So what we will do is we'll quickly derive we'll derive this formula. So dy by dx for y is equal to x power n, we have a formula called nx n minus 1, right?
I understood. Yeah.
So now what we'll do is we'll try to get the formula for from our understanding of dy by dx. Dy by dx actually just means limit of h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h. So this is just the
Yes.
slope of the chord, okay? And
Yeah.
you are bringing the 2 points very close to each other, so then they become slope of tangent, right?
Yes.
So what is my y is equal to fx? Y is equal to fx is x power n, right? So
Yeah.
let's now find our slope. So limit of h tends to 0, x plus h, f of x plus h will be x plus h to the power n
Yeah.
minus f of x will be x power n by h,
Yeah.
right? Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now in algebra, you will learn soon that there is something called a binomial theorem, like how to expand x plus h to the power n. Okay. So right now you don't know. Right now you know things like x plus h whole square, no?
Yeah.
X plus h whole cube, right? Binomial
Yes.
theorem is just a formula when n is not 2 and 3, it is some bigger integer. Okay.
Okay.
So the binomial theorem expansion is x power n plus n x n minus 1 h plus n minus 1 by 2 x n minus 2 h square. See, powers of h are slowly increasing and powers of x are slowly decreasing,
Easily.
right? So on, so on, so on, many
Yeah.
terms. N x h power n minus 1 plus h power n. Okay.
Okay.
So see, this formula fits the normal formula. This is binomial theorem. Right now we have not seen it, but it should make sense to you intuitively, because see, x plus h whole square is what? X square plus
X
2xh plus
X.
xh square, right? So
Right.
if you put 2 here, see, x square plus 2x, 2 minus 1 h.
Yes.
Now this term
Plus.
becomes
Um,
2 into 2 minus 1, 1 by 2. So 1 into 0. So x power 0 is 1. 1 into h square, no?
Is X.
Right? It's h square. So actually the binomial series expansion for x is only 3 terms, right?
Mm.
So you
Yes.
get the same thing, okay?
Yeah.
And similarly, x plus h whole cube will be x cube plus 3x square h plus 3x h square plus h cube.
Yeah.
So it will come again, okay? So don't worry about the formula right now. Just take it for granted. We'll do it properly soon in algebra, right? So
Okay. Fine.
this is binomial theorem formula. So I will just write it like that. So once you write it like that, you have to subtract minus xn, no?
Yeah.
So I'll cancel this off,
Mm.
right? So I'm ending up with limit of h tends to 0 of n x n minus 1 h plus n minus 1 by 2 x n minus 2 h square and so on. Higher terms of h, powers of h are increasing, no?
Yeah.
Plus
Yeah.
n x h power n minus 1 plus h power n divided by h, right? Right?
Yes.
So right now directly you cannot put the value of h 0 here. So what I will do is, because denominator will become 0, what I'll do is cancel this h. See, h cancels, this h remains. Everyone else has h, right? So now denominator has become 1, right? So,
Yeah.
so when you put h is equal to 0 now, every term other than this first term disappears. No, this becomes 0 because h is 0. This is 0. This
Yeah.
is 0. All these terms vanish, right?
Yes.
So what is left over is just n x n minus 1.
Okay.
That is the limit of this thing, and that is why the formula for derivative is this. Okay. So
Okay.
actually, wait. So let's do the derivative of y is equal to sine x. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you do the derivative? Again, limit of h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h.
Right.
So this becomes limit of h tends to 0, f of
Yeah.
sine x is my fx. So sine of x plus h
Right.
minus sine of x by h, right? Now I know a
H.
little bit of trigonometry, so I know sine c minus sine d. So I know sine c minus sine d will be what? 2 sine
Sine.
c minus d by 2
So H by 2
cos c plus d
cos
by 2. So x plus h by 2, right?
yeah.
2x plus h by 2, right?
Yeah.
So this is this divided by h, right? Correct.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
notice that this 2 can be brought here like this, right? So you are ending up with a limiting value, limit of h tends to 0, sine of h by 2 by h by 2 into cos of x plus h by 2, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now this limit, no, sine x by x, limit x tends to 0, sine x by x is equal to 1. Do you know this? No, no, don't know this. Okay. So why? When you take small angles, no, sine h also is small and h is also small, and they both are close to each other. So the limit becomes 1. So I will prove this too. I will prove that this is a very standard limit. So this limit becomes 1. And this, when you put h by 2, what happens? H is equal to 0,
0. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You end up with just cos x, no?
Cos X. Yeah.
So that is why derivative of sine x is
X is cos X.
this formula that you have memorized, no? There is a table of
Yeah.
formulas that you are supposed to memorize, right?
Yeah.
It comes from this way, okay? And it comes like this. Every derivative that people have asked you has been obtained by taking the limit. Okay.
Okay.
Every derivative comes by taking a limit, but what people want to avoid in life is to having to calculate this limit every time. Okay. So that is a long process. So people want to avoid that. So that's why you remember the formulas and tables and how to differentiate. All the rules are there so that you can get shortcut ways to get the differentiation. Understand?
Yes.
All of the
Yes.
rules that they have taught in class for differentiation is just a shortcut to avoid taking the limit. Okay.
Yes.
Actually, you are supposed to take the limit. That is the real meaning of it. Okay. Actually, you are supposed to do that thing. So now, quickly before we move on ahead, I will prove the sin x by x, this limit. This is an important limit. Limit x tends to 0, sin x by x. Now, it is unlike, like, what is the value of this? There is no reason for you to suspect that it should have been 1. It could have been anything. No, I don't know. It is looking like 0 by 0. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? 0 by 0 is not a form that you can make a sense of, right?
Yes.
Correct. So, how will we prove it? How will we prove it? There is a circle, suppose. Okay. This circle has radius of 1. Okay. And angles are measured in radian. Angles are measured in radian. So this angle is theta, suppose. Okay. Okay. So now, if angles are measured in radian, you have L, length of the arc, is equal to R into theta. Radius is 1, so L will be equal to theta. Okay.
Theta.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what I want you to do is join this point and this point. Okay. Okay. Join this point and this point. So, like drop of join this point and this point. Yeah, correct. And this is a radius. No, this is also 1, and this is also 1. No, correct.
Yes. Yes.
So, isn't the area of this triangle? Area of this triangle is what? Half BC sine theta. No.
Yeah. So
Area of the triangle from properties of triangle, you know, is half BC sine included angle, right?
Yes.
So it is half into 1 into 1 into sine theta, right? Correct.
Yeah. Sine theta.
This point is P, this point is O, suppose, and this point is B, right? Correct. So OPB, area of triangle OPB, area triangle OPB is equal to half sine theta, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, what is the area of sector OPB? Understand the meaning of sector OPB?
Sector OPB, yeah, the 5R square.
Right?
Basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it will be the ratio of the angle. So theta by 2 pi into pi r square, right?
Yeah.
Theta by 360 into pi r square, right?
Yeah.
Theta was written in radian, so I'm writing as like this. So this becomes this.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Area of the sector comes as theta by 2, right?
Yeah.
Now let's make another thing like this. A perpendicular line like this I have made, okay, from B. And I have extended this radius to meet it here. Let's say this is Q. Okay. What have I done? I have just drawn a perpendicular line to OB, and the radius that I made from O to P, I have extended it to meet it at Q, right?
Yes.
Triangle OQB, okay? OQB, okay? In that, this angle is theta, no?
Yeah.
So I know the base already, no? 1. So
1, yeah.
half into base into height, right? So this height will be what? Tan theta is equal to perpendicular OQB by base, which is 1.
So
BQ is equal to tan theta, no? Right? So half base into height for this triangle, it is half tan theta, right?
Yes.
So can you say a simple relation that area triangle OPB will be less than area sector OPB will be less than area triangle
Yes.
OQB. That is clear from the figure only, right?
Yes.
OPB triangle area is lesser than the sector area, and sector is lesser than this triangle, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
what is this? Sine theta by 2 is less than theta by 2 is less than tan theta by 2.
Sensitive. Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
So you have something
Yes.
like sine theta is less than theta is less than tan theta, right? Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Now think about something. Make this P point come really close here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of P point being somewhere here, when you if suppose P point is here, okay.
Okay.
So isn't everything going to now come close to each other? All three areas.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
See,
Yeah.
the gap becomes very small, no? You
Yes.
understand? Like the
Yes.
closer OP becomes to OB, right? The smaller the angle theta, the closer all three areas become to each other, no?
Yes.
This
Yes.
area and this
Yeah.
area and this area, all
Yeah.
three become close to each other, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the limit when theta tends to 0, right? Theta tends to 0. Tends to 0 means becomes very close to 0. Okay.
Zero.
In that limit, you can visually see that sine theta will be almost equal to theta, will be almost equal to tan theta, no?
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Yeah.
three areas will become almost same, right?
Yes.
Correct. So
Yeah.
that is the meaning of in because of that. Now what will happen in that limiting situation? You will have sine theta by theta is less than equal to 1 is less than equal to tan theta by theta.
Mm.
Divide by theta this thing,
Uh-huh.
and in that limiting case sine theta by theta will be tending to 1, no? Limit theta tends to 0 because
Right.
all are becoming equal, no? In that limiting case, all the areas,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
what we have proved is limit x tends to 0. This small angles sin x by x limit is almost 1. It's almost 1. We have also
Mm.
proved that tan x by x is also 1,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And we have also proved that actually they are becoming 1, but sin x is 0.99999 and going towards 1, and tan x is 1.0001 and going towards 1. Basically
Yeah.
the limiting value, this sine theta was less than theta actually, no?
Mm.
Sine
Yeah.
theta by theta will be slightly less than 1 and becoming
Yes.
close to 1,
Yes.
and tan
But,
theta by theta will become close to 1 but from the other side, from the higher side.
okay.
You
Fine.
understand? Because actually
Yeah.
area of OQB was slightly bigger than O sector area, no?
Mm. Yes.
Right? Notice
Yes.
that sine theta by theta is not equal to 1 if the angle is big, right? Obviously, right?
Yeah.
This is much different from this, no? And
Mm.
very different from this, right?
Yes.
You understand? This
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
works when angles are very small.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that is what
Okay.
we used in the previous question. The sin x by x will tend to 1,
Okay.
and cos of x plus h by 2 will become cos, right?
Okay.
So this idea of limit is the underpinning of all of calculus, and calculus is almost everything in calculus is a limit. Basically, a study of limits and limiting behavior. Okay, so derivative we saw was actually just this limit. Limit h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x by h,
Right. Yeah.
right? Basically, this was a
Yes.
slope of chord, and the points became so close that it was almost like a tangent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you will not need all of that right now, because right now you'll just remember some tools. So you'll remember that y is equal to x power n, then dy by dx is equal to nx n minus 1. Y is equal to
Yes.
sin x when dy by dx is equal to cos x. Okay,
Yes.
we have
Yes.
proved these two. Okay, we can prove all of them, but we'll not do that. That we'll do later in calculus. Dy by dx is equal to minus sin x will come. Again, all of this means limit. Limits of h tends to 0. You can prove this yourself now.
Yeah.
Like cos
Yeah.
x. Cos x proof you can do
Yes.
yourself, because it will become cos x plus h minus
Cos
cos x by h limit.
the cos
The cos c minus cos d formula will become 2 sine c plus d by 2 to
so
x
to
plus h
x
by 2
plus h
and sine d minus c by 2, right? This minus
so
this
h right, yeah,
minus h by 2
minus right, yeah,
by h, right? This 2
yeah,
you can bring here, right?
h by 2.
Sine of minus h by 2 becomes minus sine
Minus
x plus h by 2 into sine h by 2 by h by 2.
h by 2.
And the
That
limit,
becomes 1.
so limit h tends to 0. This is a small angle, small angle. So it matches and becomes 1, right? And this
Yeah,
becomes,
minus sin x.
right? So that is why the formula is coming. Okay.
Okay, fine.
So similarly, but now you don't need to repeat the process for everything. You need to be able to write the derivatives immediately, right? Without spending the time to find the limit. That is why they have taught you rules for finding derivatives and various formulas, right?
Yes.
So they have probably taught you, if there is a y is equal to fx into gx, how do you take derivative? Dy by dx. They have taught you this.
Yeah, the product rule.
So f dash x gx plus
Yes.
fx g dash x.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
product rule. Then they have also taught you chain rule, f of g
Chain
of
rule.
x, right?
The derivative of the
So
f dash x.
f dash g of x multiplied by
Yeah.
g dash x.
G dash x. Yeah.
So what this chain rule really means is, suppose you have a function like this, x square plus 1 whole square. Okay, so this is actually combination of two functions. Okay, if you think about it, it is a combination of one function hx is equal to x square plus 1 and one function gx is equal to x square. Now see how it is a combination. So it is g of h of x. Think of this, g of h of x is what? X square plus 1.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you supply x square plus 1 to g of x, what will be the output? It will be x square plus 1 whole square, right? So
Yes.
this
Yeah.
this function is actually not a simple function. It is the combination of two functions. By combination of two functions, I mean, or composition, what I mean is, you have basically, instead of having one machine, you have taken two machines and connected them together. Okay, so first here h of x was happening, x input was taken and h of x was the machine, so the output here is h of x. Okay, but the output of h of x is actually going into g of x, and this is your
Yes.
final output, g of h of x, right? Output of
Yes.
h of x is going into g of x, no? X square plus 1 is the input to g of x, right?
Yes. Yes.
Correct. So this
Yeah.
is actually a combination of two functions. So the way you differentiate it is by chain rule. Chain rule is, first differentiate the outer part, forget about whatever is inside the bracket. Okay, so
Yeah.
the outer function looks like something square, no?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something square I know how to do, x square I know how to differentiate, right?
Yeah. The
So
2 into
2 into whatever this is,
x.
right?
Yeah.
And then differentiate the inside part. Inside part is the
Inside
function. So
x plus
x square plus 1. So that will be into 2x,
x.
right? So that will be the solution for the differentiation of this, right? So
Yeah.
this rule is called product rule, and this rule is called chain rule. Chain rule means two functions are tied together in a chain, right? First you
Yeah.
do one function, then that output goes to another function, and you get an output as a complicated looking function. So for example, I'll give another example of chain rule. So suppose you have y is equal to sine of x square. Okay, now
Sine.
first I will do the sine part. Dy by dx will be sine of sine x, derivative is cos of whatever it was,
X.
and then I'll do the inside part,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, because this is a combination of two functions. One function is y is equal to sine x, another function is y is equal to x square.
Yes.
Y is equal to x square is taken and input is given to this, right? So first there
Yeah.
is a y is equal to x square function, let's call it f. It does x square. Then that output is taken to g, let's call it sine x. So finally x square comes out as output and goes inside this. So output you get as sine of x square, right?
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So this is called chain rule. So now sometimes you can have questions where there is a combination of chain rule and product rule, right? So don't get
Yes.
confused. So you can think of this thing as u and this thing as v, right? Product of
Yeah.
two functions, right? So
Yes.
the way you differentiate it is first differentiate u and leave v untouched, right? So,
Yeah.
so this differentiation of x cube is 3x square and
X
leave
square.
v as it is. Then plus leave u as it is and
Yeah.
differentiate this. But differentiating this will be by the chain rule, right?
Chain rule, yeah. The
So
cos of
differentiation of this will be 2x into cos of x square, right?
yeah.
Whatever we got here, right? So
Yes.
this is the final answer will be 3x square sine of x square plus 2x power 4 cos of x square.
Yes.
See how we have used product rule plus chain rule. So
Chain
you
rule,
have multiplied two functions and I'm going to differentiate by product rule. So I'll keep one as it is, differentiate the other, plus keep the other one as it is and differentiate the first one, right?
Yeah. Got it.
And then during differentiation of some function, it could itself be a combination of multiple functions, right? So there
Yes.
you might have to use chain rule, right? Okay,
Yeah.
this is clear, right?
Yes. It's
Then what we have is a quotient rule. How do we do quotient rule? That we have to figure out. Okay, so think of quotient rule as just product rule, u into 1 by v. Okay, quotient a quotient of u by v can be thought of as product, no?
yeah.
Of u and
Yeah.
1 by v, right?
The one by yes.
Okay, so now before we do this by product rule, let's try to figure out what is the differentiation of 1 by v, right? Differentiation of 1 by v, suppose, right? Now 1 by v is looking 1 by v, it's actually u of x by v of x, right? It's a function.
Yeah.
This is u v of x, this is u of x, right? Correct.
Yes.
So 1 by v of x is actually a complicated thing, no? It is chain rule, no? Because
So
it is a combination of which two functions? It is a combination of vx to the power it's actually vx to the power minus 1. So it's a combination of two functions, x to the power minus 1 and vx, right?
the Vx, yeah.
So first there is y is equal to vx and then our output is given to x to the power minus 1 function, no? This is v function, x comes in, output is vx, but that output is supplied to 1 by x function, no? And then you get 1 by vx, right?
Yes.
So chain rule, if I have to do here d by dx of this by chain rule, something to the power minus 1, differentiation is minus 1 v of x to the power something to the power minus 1 minus 1, right?
Yeah.
Multiplied by differentiation of the inside part, which is v dash x, suppose, right?
That's okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So differentiation of this becomes minus 1 by vx whole square into v dash x.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
This makes sense. This should make sense. Otherwise, it will be confusing.
Yeah,
Right?
it does.
Why there is a v dash x term is the question. Because it is actually a complicated, vx is complicated itself. No, it's not. Vx is not necessarily just 1 by x, right? If it was 1 by x, I would have written minus 1 by x square. That's it, right? It could be a complicated version of x. No, it could be x square plus 1 or something, right? Vx.
Yes.
Then you will have to do that inside part also because of chain rule, right? Makes sense.
Yeah.
So now we will do this whole thing by product rule. So product rule, you'll do first u dash x and leave the second function as it is, right? plus leave the
Plus.
first function as it is and differentiate second function. Second function is this, and I know
And
now
with that,
differentiation of this. So minus 1 by Vx
yeah,
whole square into V dash x,
yeah,
right? So this
yes,
becomes U dash x into Vx minus Ux into V dash x by
yeah,
Vx whole square.
yes,
That is the quotient rule. This is the quotient
yeah,
formula that you have learned.
yeah,
This would have been given, no?
yeah,
Differentiate
this was,
numerator multiply by denominator minus differentiate denominator into multiply by numerator by denominator square, right?
yes,
So this rule
yeah,
comes from product rule only.
yes,
Product rule plus chain rule together gives you quotient rule. Okay. So now you sort of know
yes,
all the
got it.
methods of differentiation. Now differential
Yeah,
calculus is sort of over. You should be able to differentiate and you should be able to know what is maximum minima, what is increasing decreasing, what is the derivative, and all of that.
and there are many complicated problems that they give, like I have doubts in many of them.
The differentiation problems.
Yeah,
Show me,
different,
tell me.
yeah, it's like differentiate with respect to x,
Hmm.
y is equal to sine x by root over x plus 1.
Okay. So now we'll use our quotient rule directly, right? Correct. dy by
Yeah.
dx will be, quotient rule says differentiate numerator to
Yeah.
cos x multiply by denominator, right?
X plus
Minus differentiate denominator and multiply by numerator. I'll multiply by numerator and then I'll differentiate denominator. So how do I differentiate this denominator?
x
Root of
plus
x
1.
plus 1. This is, see, again complicated thing. So it is x plus 1 to the power half. Differentiation of that will be half x plus 1 to the power half minus 1 multiplied by differentiation of this, which is 1,
It's 1.
right? So this
Yeah.
is just coming 1 by 2 root x plus 1, no?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Okay. Yes.
So this is 1 by 2 root x plus 1 here, right? Divided
Yeah.
by denominator square, that is x plus 1,
X plus 1. Yeah.
right? So now it
Yes.
will become, if you simplify it a little bit, it will become x plus 1 into 2 cos of x minus sine of x by 2 x plus 1 to the power 3 by 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So answer is dy by dx. dy by dx is equal to 2 times x plus 1 cos x minus sin x by 2 x plus 1 to the power 3 by 2.
Okay. Good.
How did we do it? We did it stepwise, step by step manner. We did the quotient rule. For the quotient rule, I just applied differentiate the numerator first and
Yeah.
multiply by denominator minus differentiate the denominator, multiply by the numerator and divide by the denominator square, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
in differentiating the denominator, I have to be careful that it is itself a chain rule, right? Itself it is chain rule. In this case, it was not very impactful because this one was 1, right?
Yeah.
Differentiation of the inside part. But if it was x square plus 1, my whole thing would have been x square plus 1 and then multiplied by 2x, right?
X. Yeah.
You understand? So that
Yes.
final answer here we have to use here, right?
Okay.
Next question, tell me.
Yeah. Next one is again differentiate with respect to x.
Hmm.
Y is equal to x log whole root of sine of x square plus 1
This like this,
in brackets. Yeah.
like this, huh?
Yeah. Like that.
Okay. So this is like a simple question of see, it is product rule plus chain rule. Okay. So this one is very complicated chain rule. No, so many functions are there, right?
Yeah.
And this is product rule, though, this into this, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I will do product rule, product rule first. So So this is differentiation of u is 1 into log, keep the second one untouched, right?
Yeah. Sine of x square plus 2.
Plus keep the first one untouched and differentiate the second one. Now let's differentiate the second one properly. So log of x differentiation is 1 by x, okay?
1 by that. Yeah.
D by dx of log of x is equal to 1 by x.
1
So
by
I
x.
will first differentiate with respect to log. So it becomes 1 by
1 by
root of
sine of x square
square
plus
plus
2.
2. Then I will start going inside. So I have to now differentiate this inside part, this part.
Yeah.
Root of
Like,
something, I have to differentiate, right? Root of something, differentiation is x power half it is. So something power half, so half minus 1, right?
the 1 by 2 root.
So 1 by 2 root sine of x square plus 2, but you have to differentiate inside part also,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because it is not one
Sine of
root x. No? So sine of x square plus 2 you have to differentiate, so it becomes cos of
cos.
x square plus 2, and you have to differentiate inside also,
So it's 2x.
right? So that's it. So now
Uh,
this becomes 2 gets cancelled, becomes
yeah.
x cos of x square plus 2 by sine of x square plus 2, right?
Yes.
Correct. And
Yes.
you have to add that. So answer will be something like log of root of sine of x square plus 2 plus x cot square x square plus 2, right? Cot,
Yeah.
cot of x square plus 2, right?
Yes. Yes.
So in a stepwise manner, if you follow all the rules correctly, then all the questions you will get, especially for differentiation. It's not very hard. Okay,
Oh,
as long as you know the rules and are familiar with them, differentiation is not very hard. Okay. What
okay.
else? Tell me.
Yeah.
So to
Why?
actually, one second, to actually practice differentiation, you should go to your RD Sharma or whatever you have and do
Like,
the chapter on differentiation.
I checked differentiation in R.D. Sharma, and most of the problems they solve using limits.
That is just the first exercise you have checked. After that, you have forgot to check the whole thing.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
that is
check the
called
whole
limit.
3x.
That is called the first exercise. That is finding limits from first, finding derivatives from first principle. First principles, what we
Yeah.
mean is the standard actual approach. Okay. The actual way to find derivatives is by limits only. So that is what he is showing in that first section. But what I want you to practice is the second, third, fourth section where the rules are shown.
Okay,
Okay.
the rules. Yeah.
The rules that you are just now learning, no? The quotient rule,
Yeah.
product rule, and all of them. So those sections are the more important sections for now. Later, when we do calculus properly, then obviously the limits part is super important. So right now you don't need to bother about the limits so much, but at least know how to get derivatives in different situations.
Okay.
Okay, that should be fine, right? So
Yeah.
you should start practicing from exercise 2, 3, and all the exercises where he starts giving you formulas and rules.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, next question.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Find dy by dx if x equals to t into 1 plus cos t and y equals to t sin t.
Okay, so this is something called parametric differentiation. Parametric differentiation because there is a parameter called t. Parameter means just variable called t, but it is different from x and y, right? So
Yeah.
here what has happened is basically x has been given in terms of t and y has been given in terms of t, but they have not been given in terms of each other, right?
Yeah.
Generally you are supposed to get something like this and then you know what to do, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here what has happened is x and y are given in some terms of a third variable, right?
Yeah.
Which is t, right? So how do you get the derivative when it has been given in terms of a third variable? So dy by dx can be always written as, in this case, dy by dt divided by dx by dt. Okay, so it is like this: dy by dt into dt by dx, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this becomes dy by dt divided by dx by dt, no?
Yeah.
Into multiplication of dt by dx, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is what I am saying here, right? So
Okay.
let's just find our dy by dt. dy by dt is easy. It is just product rule.
Yeah.
So differentiate t, so sine t plus
And
t into cos t, right?
cost. Yeah.
And what is dx by dt? Let's try to find that out. Dx by dt is differentiate
T
t, so 1 plus cos t
cost T
plus
plus 1
t
plus
into
cost T. Yeah.
minus sine t, right?
Minus. Yeah.
Correct.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
So this becomes 1 plus cos t minus t sine t, right? So
Yes.
dy by dx is equal to dy by dt by this dx by
Yeah.
dt. So it is
Yeah.
sine t plus t cos t by 1 plus cos t minus
Mm.
t sine t, right?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
your dy by dx. Okay.
Yeah.
So dy by dx has also come in terms of t. Okay.
Mm.
So
Yes.
in general here you can try and eliminate the t from these equations, but it might not be easy. So here it might not be easy to eliminate. If you want the equation of y is equal to fx, you have to remove the t, na,
Yeah.
right? So but removing
Yeah.
the t here is not so easy because x is equal to t plus t cos t and y is equal to t sine t. Now x minus t is equal to t cos t and y is equal to t sine t. So what you could have done was x minus t is equal to t cos t and y is equal to t sine t.
Mm.
So you could have done x minus t whole square plus y square is equal to t square. No?
Yes.
See, so you could have written x square plus y square minus 2tx, right?
Mm.
Plus t square
Mm.
is equal to t square.
Yeah.
So is equal to minus 2tx plus t squared is equal to 0. No, t square cancels, right?
Yeah.
So this is the equation in terms of x and y. Notice that t is still there, right? Not yet gone,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if in case this is feeling a little strange, what you should remember is, do you remember projectile motion? Do you know projectile motion?
Yeah. We kind of did it in brief in nine.
Okay,
Very less.
okay, fine. So right now, laws of basic motion and all kinematics, the formulas, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The three equations in motion.
Okay. So in projectile motion, you are throwing something like this, right?
Yes.
When we do physics or when in school it happens in Allen, then you learn that you can always do the y component separately. No, y is equal to v sine theta t
Yeah.
minus half a t square, right?
Mm.
And y position here, the second one. No, now
Mm.
x position is what? V cos theta into t, because this velocity is v sine theta and this
Sine.
velocity
Yeah.
is
Cost.
v
Cost.
cos theta, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, x is equal to v cos theta t, so t can be written as x by v cos theta, right?
Yes.
So t you can substitute here,
Mm.
you will get a result, right? You will get t will be removed, no?
Yeah.
Y is equal to v sine theta into x by v cos theta
Cost.
minus half into a into t square. So x square by v square cos square theta, right? So notice that I have removed t, no? Now
Yeah.
v cancels. This is called x tan theta
Yeah.
minus a x square by 2 v square cos square theta, right?
Yes.
This is called the equation of trajectory in projectile motion. Trajectory equation. This is. Trajectory, why is it called trajectory equation? Because x and y are being specified. No?
Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
if the particle passes through a particular point, let's say 1 comma 2, then 1 comma 2 should fit this equation,
Yeah.
right? And if
Yes.
you know some particular point, say 3 comma what, right? This is the question. The particle passes through some point, 3 comma what. So you can put x
Yes.
is equal to 3 and find out the
Mm.
value of y from there, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So
Yes.
this type of differentiation is called parametric differentiation. Okay. When there is something else, the way to do it is simple. Just do dy by dt by dx by dt. You understood this part, no? That
Yes.
dy by dt.
Understood.
Okay.
Yes. And
Next one.
okay. Yeah. Next is yeah. Find dy by dx if y equals to sine x to the power x.
Okay. Okay. So this is now another different complicated type of thing. Here, this is called logarithmic differentiation.
Okay.
Logarithmic differentiation for exponential functions. Whenever there are powers and all, no. See, this is also a function and this is also a function, no. Right? So you need to have some nice way to do it, because otherwise, how will you do powers and all, right? You don't know any rule for that, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what we'll do first is take log on both sides. Log y is equal to log of sine x to the power x, right? So that will be equal
Yes.
to x log of sine x, correct?
Yeah.
Now just differentiate both sides of this equation. What is the differentiation of this?
1/1.
Not just 1 by y is a function, no?
Dy.
Correct? This part
Yeah.
you should not forget. It is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just 1 by y, it is 1 by y into differentiate the inside part, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is this, and let's do this part differentiation by product rule, simple. So differentiation of x is 1 log sine x plus x into differentiation of this, right? 1
Yeah.
by
So
sine x
it's
into
concepts.
cos x, right? So
Yeah.
you are getting log sine x plus
X
x
complex.
cos x by sine x. Let's keep it like this only for now.
Okay.
So you get dy by dx is equal to, now put
Y.
the y this side. So y into this, right? Y into log sine x plus x cos x by sine x, right?
Yeah.
So y
Yeah.
is what? Y is what? Sine x to the power x, no?
X. Yeah.
Sine x to the power x log of sine x plus sine x to the power x divided by sine x will become sine x to the power x minus 1 into x cos x, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, write down this answer once. Write down this answer in your notebook so that you can tell me when I ask you then in the next
Yes.
screen. Okay.
1 second.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So
Yeah.
now we'll do it in a different way also. Y is equal to sine x to the power x. So right now the way we learned was take log on both sides, then differentiate both sides. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then 1 by y comes, multiply that y on that side and put y is equal to sine x to the power x, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That is the method. It's fairly straightforward, and that is what you should be using all the time. Now, do you know what is the differentiation of a power x?
A power x. Yeah.
There is
One
a
second. I didn't.
formula.
Yeah.
The
One
formula is this.
Some a to the power x log of a.
ln a, right?
And
A power x log of a, right?
yeah. Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
formula. And do you know how to differentiate x power a? A is a constant now.
X to the power a.
It is simple. This only.
Oh, same thing like n.
X to the power
Like it's a
a, right?
constant.
It's a constant,
Yeah.
right? A is a
Same thing.
constant. So we know these two differentiations, right? Here also a
Yeah.
is a constant. Here a is a constant. We know these two formula. So the way to do it in one step, the differentiation of the sin x power x in one line, is to differentiate as if, so differentiate this in two parts. Okay. First part, First part, as if sin x is a constant, and second part,
Okay.
as if, like you are pretending. Second
Okay.
part, as if x is a constant. Okay, and add the
Okay.
two parts. Okay, so I will do it now. So let's say if sin x was a constant, then the function looks like a power x, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So differentiation
Yes.
of a power x would have been a power x ln a, right?
Yeah.
It would be just sin x power x ln sin x, right?
Hmm.
Correct?
Yes.
That's it, no?
Yeah. 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 Correct.
Plus, now think of it as a x power a, like x is a
X.
constant, right?
Okay.
Sin x is a
X.
variable and it is raised to the power a constant, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
second part is what? The top part
X.
is thought of as a constant. First part, that this part is thought of as a constant, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
sin x
it's
to the power something would be x into sin
X
x to the
into
power x minus 1 and differentiation of sin x, no?
X is cos X.
Right? Now match the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's the same
The
thing.
thing that you wrote that time, no?
Yes. Yes.
The previous method.
Same.
So
Yeah. It's the same thing.
if you want to get quickly in one step, you should do it like this. Otherwise, you can follow the logic of that, right? You can follow the logic of the previous method, right? Take logs on both sides, do it properly, you'll get it, right?
Fine.
So
Got it.
one more example. Let's do suppose x square to the power 1 by x. Okay,
Hmm.
fx is equal to x square to the power 1 by x. I want to differentiate. Okay, so
Okay.
I will first get the answer by this short method, and then we'll look at the normal method. Okay, so this is something. First, I will differentiate pretending that this is a constant. Okay, this is a
Hmm.
constant. So a power something will be x square to the power 1 by x ln x square, and 1 by x you have to differentiate, no, because this is also not a x, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it is a
Yes.
power fx, I would have done a power fx ln a f dash x, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So 1
Yeah.
by x differentiation is minus 1 by x square, right? Correct.
Yes.
So this is
Yes.
my first part when I pretended that this was constant, right?
Constant. Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
power 1 by x. That is what I have done here. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
second part, I'll pretend that the top part is a constant. Okay. And it is x squared to the power a. So it will be a,
One
so
by
1 by x squared to the power 1 by x minus 1, and differentiate x square, which is 2x.
X. Yeah.
Okay. This is what is
Yes.
coming, right? So now
Huh.
let's simplify it a little bit. This x square is in the denominator. So on top it becomes x squared to the power 1 by x minus 1 here, no? This and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Minus ln of x square. And here it is plus this x cancels, plus 2
Huh.
x squared to the power 1 by x minus 1, no? So you can take x squared to the power 1 by x minus 1 common, becomes 2 minus ln x square, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You should write this answer so that we can verify when we do it in the next page. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. This is the answer that we got by this method, right? So now we'll
Yeah.
do the same function in a normal way. So fx is
Mm.
equal to x squared to the power 1 by x. So we have y is equal to x squared to the power 1 by x. Okay. So I will first
Taking
take log. So log y is equal to 1 by x log of x squared, right?
X.
Right.
Yeah.
I can even
Yeah.
simplify it a little more and say it is 2 by x log of
But
x, right?
yes.
Right. Now I'll
Yeah.
differentiate. So 1 by y dy by dx is equal to differentiation of this. So I will do the first function first. So 2 by x differentiation is 2 into minus 1 by x square
Yeah.
into log
Log
x plus 2 by
plus
x into 1 by x, right?
1x. Yeah.
It becomes 2 by x square common and 1 minus log x, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now dy
Yes.
by dx is becoming equal to y into, so y is x square 1 by x into 2 by x square 1 minus log x, right? So
Yeah.
this is becoming equal to x
Yes.
square to the power 1 by x minus 1, right?
Mm.
2
Yeah.
minus log of 2
X.
log x is log of x square, no?
X. Yeah.
See, this is matching
Yes.
that one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You
Yeah.
understand?
Yes. Thanks.
So this is the hardest one that you will ever see, fx to the power gx differentiate. This is the hardest case that you will ever see in differentiation, okay? So
Oh.
right now we have learned this case, how to do this, right? We
Yes.
have learned
Understood.
it in two ways, right? One way is to
Yeah.
pretend that one of them is constant and then add the other way that this is a constant. But if you
Yes.
are confused by that way, you should just do this.
Oh.
Like this is straightforward, right? Take
Yes.
log and
Understood.
differentiate, right?
Yes. Understood.
Okay. Any other doubts?
Yeah. I have two more.
Hmm. Tell me.
It's like if y is equal to tan inverse of 1 minus x squared by 1 plus x squared.
Okay. Okay. Whenever you see these
Find
tan inverse functions, find what?
dy by dx at x equals to 1.
Dy by dx at x is equal to 1. So whenever you have this, what is the second one? Tell me.
Oh, the second one, the second question.
The other question.
Yeah, f of x equals to 1 minus x into 1 minus x squared.
Wait, how? Like this.
Yeah, and brackets, and then
Okay.
1 into 1 minus x cube
Till
till like 1 minus x4 till 1 minus xn.
okay.
Find d by dx d by dx of f of x at x equals to 0.
This only. No? Differentiation at
Yeah.
x is equal to 0. Fine. Okay. So whenever you see inverse, no, one nice way to do it is take the tan on both sides, right? Take the tan here. So it will be tan y is equal to 1 minus x square by 1 plus x square, no?
Yes. Yes.
That is straightforward. If it is tan inverse this side, then take tan on both sides, it will be this, right?
Yeah.
So then differentiate here. So differentiate both sides. Tan differentiation is secant square y, but y is a function, so I'll multiply by dy by dx, right?
Yeah.
Is equal to differentiation of this side, right? So
Yeah.
quotient rule. So differentiate the numerator. So minus 2x into 1 plus x square minus differentiate denominator 2x into 1 minus x square by 1 plus
1
x
plus
square
x.
whole square, right? So let's simplify this a little bit. Minus 2x cube minus 2x plus 2x cube, right?
Yeah.
So you got minus 4x. Why? Minus 4x by 1 plus x square whole square, right?
Yeah.
And dy by dx is equal to 1 by secant square y,
Yeah.
right, into minus 4x by 1 plus
Right.
x square whole square, right? 1 by
Yeah.
secant square y can be thought of as 1 by 1 plus tan square y, right?
Yeah.
Into this minus 4x by 1 plus x square whole square, right? Now
Yeah.
tan y is this, right? Right?
Yes.
So tan square y will be 1 by 1 plus tan square y will be 1 minus x square by 1 plus x square whole square, right? Multiplied by minus 4x by 1 plus x square whole square.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I will not even try to simplify it. My job is to find dy by dx at x is equal to 1. No?
1.
So I'll put
Yeah.
x is equal to 1, right?
So 0.
This part becomes 0. So this becomes
So
minus 4 by 1 plus 1 whole square, right? So it becomes minus 1, right? Right? Correct.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So whenever you get a tan inverse, sine inverse, cos inverse and all, no, standard thing to do is
Take that same thing.
sine y is equal to x, right? Differentiate this. So this becomes cos y dy by dx is equal to 1.
Yeah. 1.
Dy
Yeah.
by dx is equal to 1 by cos y. Now write
Yeah.
cos y in terms of sine, 1 minus sine square y,
Yeah.
and 1 minus sine square y will become 1 minus x square, right? Sine y was x, right?
Yeah.
So dy by dx of sine inverse x is equal to 1 by root 1 minus x square.
Okay.
You understand? Every
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
you see an inverse, do this. So cos inverse y, I will do how? I have to, y is equal to cos inverse x, suppose. Cos y is equal to x minus sine y dy by dx is equal to 1. Dy by dx is equal to minus 1 by sine y is equal to minus 1 by root over 1 minus cos square y is equal to minus 1 by root over 1 minus x,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Understood.
So every time you see an inverse, just do this and then differentiate, right?
Okay. Fine.
The second one was fx is equal to 1 minus x,
X
1
1
minus
in
x square,
1
1
minus
minus
x
x
cube
power
is
n,
1 minus x. Yeah.
right? You have to find
Yeah.
derivative at x is equal to 0, right?
0. Yes.
Okay. So this is a lot of products are there, right? Lot of products are there. So y is equal to 1 minus x, 1 minus x square, 1 minus x cube. So many products are there, no?
Yeah.
So standard thing to think of when you see so many products is take log. Log y is log of this whole thing. So then
Yeah.
log of the whole thing can be split into several parts, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because product rule for logs,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So now differentiate. Now it is easy to differentiate. 1 by y dy by
Right.
dx is equal to 1 by 1 minus x, but differentiate the inside part, don't forget that,
Minus.
right?
Yes.
Plus
Yeah.
1 by
1 by
1 minus
1
x
minus.
squared, differentiate the inside part, which is minus 2x,
Yeah.
plus
Plus.
so on, plus 1
Yeah.
by 1 minus x power n, differentiate the inside part, minus n x n
X
minus 1,
square minus.
correct? Now
Yeah.
here the value of this we have to find at x is equal to 0, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
y is here, so y I have to multiply later. Dy
Yeah.
by dx is equal to y into this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Then x is equal
Yes.
to 0 when you put, right? See, all these terms disappear, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Every term
Because
here disappears.
yes.
So only first term remains, no? Minus 1
Once.
by 1 minus 0, right?
Uh,
Plus
yeah.
0
Yeah.
plus 0 and so on, right?
Yes.
And what
Oh.
is the value of y? What is the value of y? At x is equal
Right.
to 0, it is just 1, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Y is equal to just 1, no? X is equal to 0,
Yes.
it is just 1.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it will be just 1 into minus 1.
So minus. Oh. Understood.
You understand?
Yes. Understood.
So that's it. So what I will do is I'll send you this recording. So I hope it has been recorded. I think it was recorded. I was recording it. So
Yeah. It's recording. It's
yeah,
showing.
yeah. So I'll send you this recording so that you can refer to it whenever you are stuck with derivatives. Okay. So all of these examples of differentiation are important. So
Yes.
what you should do is practice differentiation from R.D. Sharma exercise 2-3 onwards, right? Forget about the
Yes.
limits portion. Don't do that limits exercise because that we'll do anyway when we come to the calculus part later.
Okay.
Do the practice of differentiation of different types, okay? So that
Okay.
all the
I'll do that.
formulas and methods are sure for you. And what
Okay.
we'll do is integral calculus parts we'll do next class. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever has been happening in integral calculus, there also many formulas have been shown, no?
Yeah. Too many. Yeah.
So right now, make sure that today's class and last class, all of the concepts that you have learned about differential calculus, you have revised and studied because that's all there is to it. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
These
Fine.
last two classes, yesterday and today, is enough for basic differential calculus till next year. Okay. So
Okay.
make sure that you revise it, listen to it again if you need stuck somewhere, see what logic
Yes.
I have explained. Okay.
Yes,
And
I'll do that
then on the next class, which is I think on Friday.
tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow's next class we'll do integral calculus part, right?
Okay.
Integral.
Fine.
Okay, that's it.
And then chemistry I have started. Like I did.
Yeah.
I started it.
So if you have started, you should do 3 and 4 for mole concept, and balancing and all is there, redox reactions in 3 and 4.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
and then in 5 you should read atomic structure properly. Like when you read 5 and you are stuck in some section of 5, that I will discuss. Okay.
Okay.
When you reach
Fine.
chapter 5, that time we'll discuss those things.
Okay.
Anyway,
Fine.
tomorrow's class will be integral calculus, but we have to do our triangle stuff a little bit. Okay, so some Friday
Yeah.
will be the triangle class. Then. Tomorrow we'll do
Okay.
calculus. Okay.
Fine.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.